Hey guys, welcome to another video of Vegan Cooking Mastery. Today we're gonna talk about tofu. Why? Because tofu is so good, you know, and we eat it almost every day. It's so versatile. We can do so many things with it. We can do ground tofu, we can make a smoothies, we can add it to soups, we can add it to creams. We can make a lot of things, sauces, baked, roasted, like fillings, like you name it. It's endless possibilities. Really easy. I'm gonna describe the process just so you know how it's made. And you know, after this video, you not only learn how to cook, but also you know something else, you know? Little tip you can tell your friends, your family that are not vegans or vegetarians, and they're, but what's tofu? Why do you eat it? Is it healthy? Do you get enough protein? You know, we always get the same questions, right? You're tired? Yeah, me too, I'm tired. But anyway, you soak the soybeans, then you blend them into a milk, and then after it's milk, we're gonna coagulate them. Then when they are coagulated, then we take the curds out that forms, and then we put it in a container. In this case, like these guys, they put it in a square box container, and then we press them. And then the amount of strength and pressing time is going to be the kind of tofu you're gonna get. You're gonna get soft if it's not pressed for a long time. You're gonna get firm if it's pressed for a little bit longer, right? And extra firm means if almost doesn't have a lot of water at all. So we press a lot of the water that could. So very simple, right? Now let's get into cooking. Okay guys, so let's start by talking about the firm tofu. I have some firm tofu here that I want to show with you. I left it in the package because I want you to see, right, how it is, like how do you open it, how can you drain it, and all of that, because I want to make the whole video very instructional. Anyway, so we're gonna open it right here. I mean, you open the container, whatever the way it is. Be careful because it has a lot of liquid. So what you want to do is just pour the liquid in a container, take it out. This is firm, so this means that it's a little bit crumbly. So I want to show you the texture, you see? So you can still like feel how it's like boing, 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 like bouncing. So that's the texture of firm because look, I can pass it from one hand to another one, but it still remains firm. And look, something you can do after that, if you don't want to have to release all the water in the pan or wherever you're cooking, or cook it faster or make it crispier, the secret is remove a little bit of water, squeeze it. Look gently, remember always kind of try to do the shape with your hands. Like don't squeeze here because if not it's gonna break. After this, we're gonna put it on our cutting board. So what are we gonna do with this? I just wanna show you first what you can do. And then we're gonna destroy it with our hands. So you can do a square plank. Look, this is square plank. And then from that square plank, you can do large dice. So these large dices are really good for stir fries. So we have this. We can still cook them more gently. It's not gonna hold as much as the firm, but it will hold. And we also can do sticks, you know? If we wanted to probably bread this, we can bread them or put them in the oven and fry them. So the larger piece of the tofu, if you want to kind of like use them for whole dishes. Maybe you wanna do like grilled tofu. So these are good for grilling, the larger pieces. You use them for grilling, you do some roasted vegetables and a salad on the side. So that's the way I would use it. But when I dice them, it's because I want to add them maybe into a rice, into a stir fry, or into a soup. So that's the way I'm thinking, and that's the ideas that I want to share with you. So you, when you are cooking, you're like, ah, okay, how should I cut it? The way that you cut is going to depend on the dish that you want to make. There is no wrong, really. I can really put this on my plate, right, with roasted veggies. That's fine if that's what you prefer. But I'm just telling you what I usually do. So what we're going to do today, and what you can do with this tofu that I love, is make it kind of like ground tofu, like the texture. So with your hands, you're just going to squeeze it like this. So since it's firm and it doesn't have a lot of resistance in the structure, look, just do it with your hands, kind of like squeeze it, and then you're going to get little pieces, little bites, and that is gonna have like a meaty texture. You know, a lot of vegans, they love like, oh, I want the meaty texture. The way I see it is I want to recreate maybe a dish, right? Or put like, I don't know, like a scrambled eggs. And this is a very good way because it gives you the sensation of that. No, I don't want to make a scrambled eggs because if not, I would use eggs, but I want to create the texture. So today we're going to use it like this, like ground. And we're going to also use some ginger, turmeric root, we're going to use some squash that I have, and some grilled corn that I made in advance. So let's get into the recipe. We're going to serve first our tofu. So we want some texture in our tofu. The pan is really hot, that's great. And we want to cook at high temperature. At this point, we're gonna season. We're always gonna be seasoning these ingredients as we go. Because one of the big mistakes that a lot of people do is that they don't season tofu enough. Tofu doesn't have any salt at all whatsoever. So if you don't season it from the beginning, it's gonna be very difficult for you to actually make it taste good because it's not gonna have any flavor. So here we're not gonna move it, but look, even just by that little amount of time, because my pan was really hot, here there is already some color. So that's what we want. We want some color right here. All right, so it's been about 2 minutes and we can see now the color all around the tofu. Remember, the more color it has, the more water is evaporating. So all this steam is the water that the tofu has. Since we don't want to lose all that water because the texture, we still want that creaminess, we're going to take it out at that point, and then we're going to start adding our other ingredients. So also they can use the heat properly, because what happens is if we add it here, they are going to just basically release all the water. And we don't want that. We want to create layers of flavor. Alrighty, so let's start by adding in the same pan a little bit more grapeseed oil. We're gonna add our zucchini, and I have here also a little bit of patty pan squash. So we want a little bit of color on these too, because the squash is also very watery and very simple, and it tends to be bland sometimes. So we want to add a little bit of color right here. At this point, we're going to add our ginger. This ginger is being diced, very small. You can also grate it using a grater. The reason we add a ginger at this point is because we want the ginger also to be cooked, because it's going to take a little bit longer. Remember, the heat here is going to be hot because we want this searing, and also because the squash and the zucchini, they're going to cook so fast. It's like really 2 minutes, and 2 minutes I think is just enough. So we just stir a little bit, and also what did we say before? We're gonna season just a little bit, right? Just so we start building the flavor. So okay, we're gonna leave it there for 1 more minute and then take it out. Alrighty, so this is done. How can you tell? You can see the zucchini start getting transparent and also getting some color. So we're gonna take it out and mix it with the tofu. Alright, so lastly, we're gonna add a tiny bit more of grapeseed oil. We're gonna add the onion and the garlic. Why? You're gonna be like, but why? Why you didn't put it all in there? You know, it looks so good. Yeah, I know. But the reason we didn't put it together, because if we add this with the zucchini, it was going to get so overcooked, the zucchini, that it gets so mushy, and it's just actually, I mean, I'm not gonna use the word disgusting, but it's like not good at all. This is what my mom used to do for me. Like, she would overcook all the vegetables and I would hate it. So I promised myself when I was 10 years old, I was never gonna, nah, just kidding. I didn't promise anything. I didn't even know I was gonna be cooking for a living. But here I am. So I'm telling you not to do it, because your kids are gonna hate it, you are gonna hate it, and everyone else is gonna hate it. So if you don't wanna be hated, don't do it. Look, just 1 minute. This is very simple. We're cooking fast here. And why? Because, you know, as long as you know how to cook, as long as you know the time and the right temperature, everything is well cooked and delicious. So you can see here how now all the caramelization at the bottom of the pan when we started is gone, because the water of the onions is actually extracting it from the pan, and you're getting all that goodness into the mix. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna add the corn, the charred corn that I told you. These, you just put it in the stove. Basically, just put the corn cobs, put them in the stove and let them burn. Flip them from time to time until you get a little bit of color. That's it, then you just cut it. And now, look at this magic. We're almost done, almost there. Ooh, boy. Since the corn is already cooked, we add this, the mix, you know, zucchini, and we have our tofu. Look at that. So amazing. Now here we need to taste it because we don't know if it's good, right? We just season, and we don't know if it needs more salt. So we're gonna taste. Oh, so good, so well seasoned. Okay, some pepper. We're gonna finish seasoning, okay? You at the end always wanna finish seasoning with love, with intention. Let's do it. So pepper in, then we have some lemon. We're gonna add some lemon zest right here. Oh yes, look at that. Look at that lemon zest. Look at the color of this lemon, my goodness. It's so good. Eat the rainbow, guys, eat the rainbow. Okay, we're gonna do that, stir it in, release all the flavors, lower the flame, because now we're not looking for color anymore. And actually, you can even just turn it off, turn your flame off, cut a little bit of the lemon, and finish with some lemon. Oh, ooh la la. This is the acidity. Every dish has to have a little bit of acidity, at least a little bit. Some dishes benefit from more. Voila. Lastly, let's get some fresh cilantro and just pick the leaves. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Voila, guys. Our tofu is done. Delicious, amazing. Ooh la la. So good. So simple, so good. This is a way you can cook the firm tofu, and it's gonna be amazing. Okay guys, so now we got one done. Look at this beauty. We use the firm tofu, and we have this situation with zucchini, squash, some corn, and also some cilantro. Now let's move to the next one. In this next one, we're gonna use firm tofu. We're going to actually, look, we're gonna bake it. So firm tofu, look, I'm gonna show you, no water, right? So this is the difference between the extra firm and the firm. This one doesn't really have water. I mean, it has a little bit, but not that much, so it's pretty firm. So that's why it's very good for baking. So we're gonna cut planks of about, like, you know, I would say, is this an inch? 3/4 of an inch? I don't know how to say it in inches, but about, I think, 1 centimeter, if you understand centimeters. We're gonna do some planks like that. We're gonna use only this because we're gonna use this for the other dish that I wanna show you the difference between these two. So we're gonna do 4 planks, and we're gonna use also some legs for this dish. We're gonna use a tray, put them into a tray. We're gonna use, again, grapeseed oil. We're gonna cover them with a little bit, just so it sticks to it, the flavor. We're gonna use some salt. So we're gonna season one side first, you know, just with your hands. Use one hand to spread all the oil and everything, and the other one to season. Okay, now flip them. Just a tiny bit more oil. The oil is also gonna serve so the heat is transferred. We're gonna add a little bit more salt. Remember, when you think it's enough salt for tofu, you need a little bit more. I'm not saying over season or make it super salty, but remember, there is no salt whatsoever. It's like you cook some grains and then you don't put any salt and you put a little bit. It's not gonna taste like anything, right? So season it properly. We're gonna use some paprika for this tofu, but you can use some cumin, some coriander, some fennel seeds, like basically anything. And the same, spread it. You want it to look red because we want a lot of flavor, paprika flavor in this. So this is a smoked paprika, Spanish paprika. Oh, I love it. I love a Spanish paprika. Really, I put it on everything if I could. It always gives it a nice flavor. That's the truth. Okay, so now that we have a red tofu like this, now we're gonna bake it at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. So the thing that is gonna happen is you're not gonna get like lots of color because it's not in direct contact into it, but you're gonna get some. And it's gonna be cooked, and then the flavor that you added in here is gonna be added into the tofu, okay? So we're gonna put it in the oven, set a timer. We're gonna do 20 minutes. Also, remember this tofu doesn't have a lot of water, so you don't wanna dry it. So let's not dry it up even more. We still need to have like some form, some texture, some juiciness inside, right? So let's bake it and then let's continue with the leeks. Alrighty, so for the leeks, I already cleaned them, but I wanna show you how I cleaned them. I cut them in half and then I wash them under running water, just opening the leaves like this, because the dirt, it gets in there. So just opening like this, rinsing them one by one. It's super easy, cold water, remember, cold water. And for the tops that we are also using, because a lot of people throw them away, it's a waste, and also they're throwing away flavor. So the same, I just take them away one by one. These ones, I rinse them one by one because they do have a lot of dirt. So one by one, just rinse them. And now we're gonna cut them very thin because we're gonna cook them into the pan. So you just wanna stack one on top of each other, and then from there, just really just cut them, you know, just like very thin, as thin as you can. More the green ones because the green ones are a little bit tougher. So it takes a little bit more time, but it's still really good. And the best thing is that you can use this not only for tofu, we're gonna use it to put on top of tofu, but oh my God, it's like goes with everything. You can have them done in advance, the leeks, and then these leeks you can use them for soups, you can use them for cooking something else, you know, that you're gonna cook in advance, maybe a grain, just mix them in a grain salad, dice them, or even like that, just cooked, or maybe in a soup. Like, so good, so good. All right, we finished cutting the leeks. Our pan is already heating up, and now we're gonna use some olive oil. I love to using extra virgin olive oil to cook our leeks. So we're just gonna pour a generous amount in there. If you're trying to eat less oil, just put a little bit less. It's fine, no problem. And the only ingredient for this recipe is just leeks. So we're gonna add all our leeks into the pan. Look at that. Can you hear that sizzling? Ooh. And already smelling the olive oil, already smelling the leeks, you know, when they touch the heat. We're gonna let them cook there. Just let them cook, stir them after 4 minutes, 3 minutes, more or less. Now I'm just gonna mix them first, just so every single part of the leek has a little bit of oil. Now the leek is gonna start releasing all this water, and then when it's released, all of this is going to start cooking and getting sweeter and caramelizing because of the natural sugars that leek has. So this is so wonderful. Look at this, it looks amazing. So remember, medium flame. We're going to let it cook there. We're going to season, remember, season a little bit. Let it fall, some love, exactly. Let's put some pepper. Beautiful. Look at that. And this, what this is gonna do is contrast the dish. So basically we have the planks of the tofu with some caramelized leeks. They're gonna be sweet, but the tofu is savory, so you know what I mean? So it's like, oh. And we're gonna add a little bit of lemon juice too for acidity. Here you can see all the water evaporating. So we're gonna go back into this to squash the leeks in about 5 minutes, but just keep stirring them. The best thing of this is, look, the tofu's in the oven. I'm not doing anything else right now. If you want to do this for dinner, you have the tofu, you have this. Maybe you have already some quinoa cooked and some veggies. Or you can roast some veggies with the tofu while it's cooking. And that's it. Your dinner is so done. And it's so good and it's so delicious. So it's been only 3 minutes. And look at this. Half of the leeks are already shrink. Do you see how it was all the way over here? Now what we have, you can see now how they're getting looser and creamier and even sticking a little bit into the pan, caramelizing. That's what we're looking for. We're gonna leave them here and keep stirring, you know, just keep stirring after a few minutes. They need a little bit more time, give them some time. but if you see that they can definitely need a stir, just stir them. All right, so it's been 4 more minutes and our leeks are getting completely caramelized right there. So something we can do is just turn off the flame, taste them, see if they're seasoned, and then we can serve them like that. Or we're gonna add a little bit of water so we can extract all this flavor. Something else you can do here is add white wine. That would be amazing, so flavorful, right? But in case you don't drink or something, or you don't have alcohol, then with water or with broth, even better, just add a little bit and then just let it cook there for a few more minutes. What it's going to do is the water is going to help even extract more the sweetness of the leeks. So we're going to put it in there and let it cook slowly. Keep cooking slowly until it gets even more caramelized. All right, so we're going to start with the third dish. We're going to do the crispy tofu. So this crispy tofu that we have over here, we're going to do 2 tests. This is the firm. We're going to cube it. So we're going to do large cubes, actually. Like larger than the usual large. And you can see here how there's more water in this tofu, the firm one, than the one that is not firm, that is extra firm. So we're gonna still cut it into 4. And now, what we're gonna do, what is gonna give the crispiness into this is basically coat them into the marinade. The marinade is gonna be composed by tamari. We're gonna use a little bit of Szechuan vinegar. This is not gluten-free, so if you're gluten allergic, so be careful, don't use it, avoid it, because it's made with rice, but it has wheat bran. Or just check the ingredients. I'm not aware that they have a gluten-free version, but at this time, I think they might. So we're gonna use this. We're gonna use some Szechuan pepper. So I toasted it and grind it, and now we're gonna use that for seasoning as well. So we need a bowl. We need also some tapioca starch. So we're gonna add here our cubes. We're gonna start seasoning. So with salt, yes, because the tamari is not gonna do all the trick, you know, for seasoning. So we need a little bit of salt. Make sure not to be too tough when you know, move them around, because they might, you know, start breaking down, the ones that are firm. The extra firm is gonna be completely fine. It's like, don't worry, I got it. And then we're gonna do some Szechuan pepper. So, ooh, yes, a lot. You know, just do like 3 good pinches. It smells so good. It's just so, you cannot get confused with Szechuan pepper. With a dish has Szechuan pepper, you're like, oh, it's like earthy but floral, and I don't know. I kind of like perceive some like maybe citric notes into this pepper. That's why I love it so much. We're gonna add some tamari just to cover, you know, every single piece of it. Try to use a tamari that is concentrated. You don't want a lot of liquid in here. You want like the light tamari. You want the one that is very thick. So the same, we're gonna move around. Yes, and look, now it's getting dark. It's getting dark, the situation dark here. Beautiful. We're gonna add some Szechuan vinegar. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. If not, I'm sorry. Szechuan, probably, it's better. We're gonna add just a little bit. This is a very intense flavor, but it's so good. But it's gonna add also a little bit of acidity into this. So what I like to do is I like to taste the marinade, and it needs to be a little bit in the saltier side. So make sure it is kind of salty, because that flavor is gonna infuse into the tofu. Just gonna stir the leeks here so they don't burn. Oh, look at this. Look at this. So nice. This is what we're looking for. Do you see how they even look like creamy? That's it. That's all we need. We're gonna stop this, and then now we need a pan, because we're going to add some tapioca starch, and then we're gonna kind of pan fry them. You can actually fry them. You know, usually don't fry my things, but I like to pan fry when when things like this come my way. I'm like, yeah, some pan fried tofu. Yes, please. Even though, you know, frying is not the best thing for us, because it's actually really bad. You know, the chemicals that get produced, you know, with the high heat exposure into the oil and all of that. So take your precautions. You know, it's not as healthy, but it's really good. So maybe just do it once a month, whatever. You do whatever you want, but just be aware of that, right? Because we, in this channel, we promote health, but also, you know, a balanced lifestyle. I'm not like a hardcore, like, oh no, my God, I'll never eat something that is pan fried or oh, it's too much oil, things like that. I prefer to, you know, eat balanced so I can have those little things, you know, that for me are important because I like flavor, I like different textures. For you might be different, and that's okay. So do whatever your heart tells you to do. This is perfect timing. Our tofu is done. We're gonna check. Careful because it might be really, really hot. Okay, so now look at this tofu, look at the color of it. Do you see how we start getting some color at the edges? Here, it really depends on you, you know, how well do you like it, you know, do you want more crisp in the outside? Do you want like more crunchiness in the outside, or just a little bit is fine? For example, here, I can already feel like the edges are already hard. So they're nice, but then the center is still soft. So for me, that's good. You know, maybe what I can do in another occasion is maybe do it to 450 for maybe 15 minutes. So 430, you know, so I get the edges like more crunchier. But here it already absorbed all the flavor. We're just going to put it into our plate. We have here some delicious leeks that are done. Look at that. Put them here. Put a little bit on the bottom. Boom. I'm gonna do some tofu here. Look at this. A little bit more here. A little bit more on the top. And voila. This is done. We're gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon on top, just for flavor, some acidity. Ooh, la la. It's gonna be so good. And here we have it. Very simple, roasted tofu with caramelized leeks. Second plate done. Now let's go and get the third one. All right, so we're gonna finish adding our tapioca starch. So we're gonna add tapioca starch until it covers the tofu. So what we want is to see that all the tofu is covered. It's fine if you see the liquid. The liquid is also going to stick into the tofu. So you want to start mixing it up. Something you can use, and also is used in Chinese cuisine, is potato starch. But also tapioca starch works well, just fine. We're gonna mix a little bit more. So you can see how it's coating the tofu. You want the tofu to have a coat. And also, remember that this, whatever it was here of the dressing, now is in the tofu. So that's perfect, that's what we want. It's gonna get sticky to each other, so mix it very carefully. All right, so our pan is getting hot, and now we're gonna add our oil. We just want a layer right at the bottom. Now that we added our oil, we're gonna add little by little, one piece of tofu at the time. You don't want to splash it, so just add it at the bottom, you know, don't let it fall, because sometimes you are scared, you're like, oh my God, it's gonna jump. But no, if you do it gently, it won't. So look, this is the difference. This is the extra firm tofu, and this is the firm tofu. Can you see how it's already disintegrating? So just carefully do it, you know, it's gonna be beautiful. So we're gonna do all of them and separate them, don't let them together. I know they wanna be together, but no. All right, so now we're gonna start flipping them. When you start getting some color, look at this, the crispiness. So we're gonna start flipping one by one. Just use a little spatula. Just first, yes. Look at that color. How easy was this, honestly? You know, some people think it's like rocket science, but it's not. Look now, just watch this. If they get stuck, just separate them. Just watch out because the oil is gonna be pretty hot. So. Okay, and something else that you can do is just tilt the pan towards you, push the tofu, and so you can get into the middle of the tofu, just start basting them with a spoon. Just be careful, so basically you put it in, and then you put it on top of the tofu. And then you keep rotating them. For example, these two already got their share. Now you bring the one that is more white, and then come here, and then do the same. Just carefully, just bring the oil up. This is the movement slowly. Bring the up. Basically, you're baiting them in a little bit of oil, so just every single part of the starch also gets cooked. If not, it's gonna be taste like a starchy taste, you know, like kind of weird. So push them over here, bring the other ones, and voila, look at this. They look so good, don't they? Then something I like to do just after they are cooked, when you see that the color is even, so just put it into a tray with a little bit of parchment paper, and voila, look, just to absorb the excess of fat. All right, it's time to plate and time to eat. This is the best part when you cook the meal for yourself. You get to enjoy it. So now we're gonna plate it. So we're gonna put our tofu here. We have some fresh, delicious avocado that we're gonna use some cilantro, and I actually just tasted it and it's like, oh my gosh, so good, so good. So then we have a few pieces of avocado. This is just, you know, just to make it fun, you know, make it a little bit like cuter. So remember, we eat with our eyes first because, you know, we like to look at beautiful things. We like to first see like, oh, what's that? And then we're like, okay, I try it. So it's the same for your family. If they see something in a plate and doesn't look appealing, beautiful, they're never gonna eat it. So that's the first mistake people make. Now we're gonna finish it with a little bit of lemon juice on top of it. The tofu is so good, but the avocado needs a little bit of salt. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt on top. That's it. And guess what? I have the stems of cilantro. I added some cilantro stems and cilantro and chiffonade. And voila, look at this. I am so excited. We're finally done. We finished the 3 dishes. Let's taste them. It should be pretty good. Oh my God. It is so good. The ginger makes it so fresh. It's a very fresh dish. Even though now it's not even hot, it's kind of like room temperature. It is still, you can still feel all the flavors, you know, even the charness of the corn. You feel the cilantro, you feel the fresh of the ginger, but on top of that, the lemon. You know, we put the lemon zest, and the lemon is just so good. It complements each other really, really well. I really liked it, and I think you are going to love it. For the second one, we have this baked tofu or roasted tofu that we put paprika in it. Very simple. We didn't go like too far, but something you can do for this, or variation for this dish, is do the oil, do the same, season it with salt, and then add chopped garlic, you know, a little bit of chopped, rub it with the chopped garlic, or just grate it, and then put it in the mix. Then add other spices. We mentioned you can add other spices like fennel, you can add turmeric, you can add cumin, what else? Black pepper. Just make a black pepper tofu. Oh my goodness, that would be so good, you know? And then we did the caramelized leeks, super easy at the same time. That's like a dish like, oh, I'm hungry, you know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and plus the prep, 30 minutes, you have this delicious meal, right? And in the meantime, you can cook some rice, or you can cook a grain, and my goodness, so good. So let's taste the leeks. I already tasted them, but okay, they are soft, but you can still feel, it's not like they melt completely, because the green parts of the leeks, they still have some texture. They are a little bit more fibrous, but you don't feel it. It doesn't feel like bad. It's not a bad texture. It feels really good. And if you want it, you can cook them a little bit longer, add a little bit more liquid, even cover them and cook them a little bit longer. 5 more minutes would be perfect. But for me, these are great the oniony flavor of the leeks. And now let's taste the tofu. So, this is still warm. Wow. I guess 400 degrees goes, does a pretty good job. But to be honest, I like it. But to be honest, I prefer to sear it. When I'm just gonna do it like this, I sear it first in the pan. So what I probably would do, or something else I would do, this is an easy way, right? That's why I wanted to show you. You have to do an extra step. But if you want to go the extra step, the extra mile, I would say put a pan, oil, or the grill and sear it in the grill or pan fry it. And then you're gonna have a both like very good texture in it. The flavor is great. I mean, the flavor combination is amazing. But I like it more when it's in the pan and when it's in the oven, to be honest. And now we have this, the tofu that we did with tapioca starch, where we use Sengyang vinegar and some tamari. And you can add here ginger, garlic, spices. We use Sichuan pepper, that is so good. I think you're gonna completely love it. Please do this one. We add avocado, some cilantro from freshness, and a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice can be here, or even another vinegar, it would go great. So we're gonna have one of this by itself. Oh, look. So good. If you're expecting to be super crunchy like fried chicken, it's not gonna be like that. But it's gonna have some crunchiness because of the tapioca starch. So when the tapioca starch gets into the tofu and then we pan fry it, then is when you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I know what you mean. So you have these little bites and they're so good because they're full of flavor of the marinade. So actually the bite is not like just the tapioca starch, it's like full of the flavor. And then with the avocado, and I have some very spicy sauce here, I think it's gonna be fantastic. So guys, today you learned how to make these 3 dishes, 3 different ways to use firm and extra firm tofu. If you want a video about how to make the soft tofu, please leave your comments down below so I know what you want and what you're more interested in, so I can make it happen for you. Remember, my mission is to help you master vegan cooking. Master cooking with vegetables, with grains, with everything that is called involves eating plant-based. I'm just so thrilled that I get to do this for a living, that I get to do this just for fun. So thank you so much for watching this video. I look forward to see you in the next video. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just subscribe and click that little bell so you always get notified when a new video is out. Because if not, you're gonna miss out. And until next time, see you, Chef Lalo here, Vegan Cooking Mastery. See you next time. Thank you.